Okay, so we have our website here. So what we're going to do quickly is to attempt to follow what the client has given us. So I'm just going to wipe out all of these. We already have a nice page builder. I think I would only retain this section. Uh, then I like the way it looks, and I would not want to touch that. So I'll probably just retain that section only, and I'll delete everything else. So what section is that now? Um, could be this one. Icon box slider. Let's see if that's the one. Okay, that's the wrong one. Let's look for the one just above the themes. So this is the theme section of it. So let's look for the stuff just right above it, and I think we'll save that one. So where's the theme? Where is it? Okay, just gonna scroll up. Okay, so here's the theme section, and that means this is the only section we're retaining. So I'm just going to delete everything else. Deleting everything else. And we're leaving our revolution slider. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on update, and we would refresh and see what our website looks like. We're using our page builder to construct exactly what the client has requested. So from the slider, you have the work stats, and then you have our services section. The content of these boxes has been provided here as well. So we'll look for how to incorporate all of those in a nice way. And then we have the mission and this nice call to action here. Two call to action stuff right down here. The client testimonial and current clients they have. Okay, so the website is opening. So this is what we currently have. It's really bare, nothing else here. And so let's get right into building really quickly. So what I'm going to do, okay, there's something here, achievements. We're going to remove that one. Okay, where is it coming from? Is it this one? Let's just delete it. We don't need it. We're going to create our own. So we have just the revolution slider here on the page, and that's a corporate slider. So I'm going to close this. I'm trying to get this achievement stuff to go off. I mean, we don't need it. So I'm saving on the page right now. I'm going to come back in here and refresh, and hopefully this would have left. Okay, it's no longer there. So what we're going to do right now is to follow what the client wants. So we're going to create a row here where we will put in the work stats. It's the work stats. This is the work stats. So this is what the client wants to be displayed in there. It's going to be 5,000 plus projects, 30,000 plus clients, 1,500 in reach, and 24 years of experience. Okay, so let's do that right away. I'll go back to the page builder, and what I will do is to click on this plus to add a row. Now a row is basically a box that you want to create, and you can put things into. So that's the row that I just created. Ideally, if we follow the design of the client, it should be something around this color. But let's leave it at white first. So I'll click on the plus. Thankfully, our page builder comes with counters. So I'm going to use this one, the counter settings, and I'm sure I could put in different Okay, so we'll go into the counter settings, and what I'm going to do is pull out information from what the client has requested. So the stats, the first one is supposed to be 5,000 plus projects. Okay, so that means I'm gonna put 5,000 in here and plus, and this is gonna be projects, right? There wouldn't be need for this, but let's look for an icon that looks like projects. We could be lucky, we'll just get something. Okay, so there is none like that, so let's just look for a related icon. I'm gonna say work, and this could do, right guys? That could work. So let's preview and see what it looks like. If it looks well, then we can break it into four different sections. That's one, two, three, four different sections. So let's see it load, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, great. So we have what we're looking for. That's a counter, and it looks good. So what we're going to do right now is to break this column into four. So that counter is in the first one. I'll duplicate this into three more places, so I could just move it in here, and there you go. We have our counters. So I would edit them to suit what the client wants. So the next one is client 3,000 plus clients 3, and we'll change here to clients, and we'll change the icon to something about people. Okay, 3,000 plus clients. Which one should we use? Let's use this one. So I'll repeat for the other two as well. Okay, so that's me setting up the last one now. Just put in the last one. So let's preview again, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so now we have all of those sorted. Now, there's something that we're going to do here. There has to be a bit of space from, as in leading from the slider down to the counters. And then we have to put in a title called work stats. So let's add the space now, right up here, just below the revolution slider. I'm going to, let's duplicate the revolution slider. I'll delete the revolution slider in here, and I'm going to put in space here, empty space. Okay, empty responsive space with custom height, that's better. You could use any of those, but I choose to use this one. Choice is mine. You could use whatever you want. So I'm gonna make the space, let's say 42 pixels, and right here, this is the column for our work stats. So I'm gonna click on the plus here, and let's look for a simple header, right? And let's use this one, heading pro. So I'm gonna say work stats. That's what I'm gonna write in there, of course, because that's what we need. So work stats, sorry, should be S. All right, I did it again. Okay, now let's preview. I have a bit of a slow network here, guys, but you've got to bear with me. Okay, so that's a slider. Now we have a bit of space here, and then we have work stats that is displaying nicely down here. We're making progress. So the next thing we're going to do is to work on the services section. The easiest way to do that, guys, is to create another, which you can do from either of these two places. So I'm just going to create another row. The row by default will be at the bottom, but I need it here. and what I'm going to do is to put in space. Right, I need space here basically because I don't want it just right here. I need a bit of space so we can lead people into the next section. I'm gonna make this 62. I need it to be a bit bigger. After doing that, we want to put in our boxes. So there are different ways to put in the boxes depending on what you want, but we're going to explore one simple way. Let's see if there is something for services. Okay, and icon box, enter slider service details. Let's see how that pans out. If it works well, we can break down this section into 3 different columns and let's see. So here is the first one. I'll click on plus. Okay, so right here we can say the service title is HR Management Solutions. All right, solutions. Right, and there's a bit of code in here which you really do not need to get into. All you need is so basically this code formats the text, right? And just to explain it, it has the header 1 as style, the text aligns center, that's pretty straightforward. The font size is 36, and you have something in here which basically this setting controls, right? So 36 of font size, align center, and it has a heading of 1, right? And then there is a paragraph. So this is where all of this ends. That's why you have a slash here. And then there's a paragraph with the style of text aligning center. The font size is 16, so this is much smaller. That means our text for HR management solution, which was provided by the client, is supposed to come in there. Okay, so I just paste that here. Now remember, we're testing to see how it looks. If it looks good, then we can go ahead and make it make the other ones like there are 5 more to go. Okay, so that's our service as it is displayed, and I believe the other one comes in here. So there are basically 4 services. Sorry, there are 6 services. So I assume all of them would come in here. It doesn't exactly follow this design that the client wanted, but I think it looks nice. I think it looks nice. So this is the service, and then that's the title of it. So let's make that let's see, HR management solutions, and so let's make this HR management solutions first, and let's see. So icon box slider again. Remember where we're going to put the title in, this particular title, like this particular one. So okay, so I'll click on the drop down here, and I'll just copy this because that's what we need, and I'll paste it here. So that's gonna be the title. Let's see, is there something else? Okay, so that's the icon for it. Okay, we could use icons from different guys. Okay, so simple line icons. Let's see. Okay, so this looks better. Web application icons. So what we're looking for, let's search. If we see anything about HR, no, we didn't. So let's attempt to look for something that maybe matches a bit, and then we'll go with that. But basically, it's gonna be difficult to find an icon that communicates HR except we're designing one ourselves. So I'm just going to pick a random one that looks good, and we'll use that one. Background image for HR management services. Let's see if we have any stuff that is looking good already on the dashboard, and we can use that one. Okay, so we don't. A good place to look for that is to go to Unsplash. Unsplash.com. You would have a ton of free images there that you could use for your project. So let's just allow that open, and then we say HR. Okay, don't know how that happened. HR management. I'll hit enter. So search, and let's see what Unsplash has for us. For HR, they have nice images, which is good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this one, basically because it doesn't show anybody's face and it communicates HR. Now if I use this download free, it's going to save the image in a high-res format, and then I'll have to compress with Photoshop. So we're going to right click on it and save image. It saves it in a compressed format, and so I would make this save as HR, right? And I'd save it. Now that that is done, I'm going to come back to our page builder, and we're going to upload that one from HR. Okay, so I'm going to drag in the HR. Where is it? I'm going to drag it in here. Okay, and real quick, so you can see the size is 102 kilobytes. If I had used these download options, we'll be looking at 3 maybe 4 megabytes of size. So I'll set image, and let's just see how it looks, then we can pick it up from there. So I'm going to preview again, and let's give it time to load up. Alright, so it's opening, and there you go, HR management solutions. But it doesn't look good because our text is in white, and let's see. So what we're going to do, I don't want the text change from white, or we could just change it. I was going to suggest opening up Photoshop and then using dark overlay on the picture, but and I think that might be the better option right now. Since we're trying not to jump into coding, we might have to use we might have to code it if we want it to, if we want the text to be black. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back here, I'll copy the image, right? I'll fire up Photoshop, and because I have it copied in my clipboard, it's going to have the size of the image already. I'll click on create, I'll paste it, I'll zoom out a bit, and I'll pick this one because this is a faster way. I'll draw a box over it. Ideally, I want the box to be black, right? Yeah. And I'll reduce the opacity. Yeah. So in this way, our write-up is going to come up. I'll say for web, just because I can. You can use whichever other format you want to save with, and I'll say HRED, ED standing for edited. I choose to use that. You can choose to use whatever you want. Okay, so I'll come back here, and what I want to do is to upload my new image. Now, most times clients give you briefs and stuff, and they want their websites to look in an exact way. They give you, yeah, drawings like this, right? But what you want to do is you could follow it tip by tip. You could follow every single thing as they want, but you could also do something slightly different, which exposes their services even more, right? So what we're doing right here is slightly different from what the client has specified in this drawing, but it's going to put more focus on the service and allow people read their services better. So I'm changing this image right now. I'm just going to drag the new HROED, ED standing for edited, in here. And one of the reasons why I use that saving format is that it saves it in a really small format, and the file size isn't going to be large. It's a bit larger though, 263 kilobytes, but that's fine. It's perfect size for web stuff. So I'm going to refresh this and hopefully it comes out nicer. Loading. Okay, HR management solutions. The image behind is still loading, so let's just wait for that to load up and let's see how it looks. Okay, so that's it, HR management solutions. And then of course you could click to move to the next one, which is really fast. It doesn't have to load up again. And you could also change it from here. Now I'll show you different ways we can achieve this, but for now let's stick with this and let's add up the next service. So I'll open the icon box slider again. So I could just click here and would work on the next one, or I could do the lazy stuff by duplicating one that already works. So just click on the duplicate icon. Sorry guys, this is my network, it's a bit slow and it's refusing to duplicate. That's basically because my network is poor. Alright, it's duplicating now. And okay, so I'll edit this one and I'll call it learning and development, which is what the client wants. So it has found a way to duplicate itself a lot. Learning and development. I'll copy that because that's what's going to be in here. Sorry. Okay. And then the write-up for learning and development is somewhere in here. So I'll copy that as well. And what I'm going to do is to paste it here. Sorry again. All right, so let's look for a more efficient way to make this work. So I'll hold my shift and I'll use my down buttons, my direction buttons, and I'll paste. Hit the delete button. Okay, and I'll look for an icon that talks about learning. So I'll click on that and we'll go back to web application icons, learning. I don't want that as too academic. So let's look for books, learning and development. That will be better. Background image. We'll go back to Unsplash, and I'll close this. I'll say learning. You could just search for learning, but I want suggestions across both learning and development. So I would have different options. So you have learning, you have development. Let's pick one, guys. So which one? Let's say the write-up provided by the client first of all. So it talks about we help organization harness the ability of its people. So it's basically training services, right? So it makes sense to use something like this because here it's learning and people are getting developed, I think. Or this one. Let's see. Can we get something more specific? Okay. Let's use this one. It looks very corporate and all right, so we'll use this one. So I'm going to copy, and to avoid the mistake we made in the first instance, I'm just going to bring it directly to Photoshop. I'll delete this one. I'll paste a new image, and I'll turn on this one, but I'll give it a slightly different color. Okay, because I also want write-ups to show. So I'll export again for web, yet again, and I'll call this learning. So when I go back to our browser, I could just click on the plus and I'll drag in learning. Right, you could do that, and let's see how it pans out. Okay, uploaded. We have another 242 kilobytes in size, which is perfect for web. Okay, so I'm gonna save and just wait for it to load up to be sure that it's coming in properly. Yeah, and I'll hit save, and not because of anything, but this time I just want to update it and preview the site live. So let's allow it update, and then I'll come to. Alright, so I'm just going to open up this in a new link. Okay, so there you have HR management solutions, and you could easily click on this. It's going to take you to learning and development. Ideally, when we're done with everything, because these were just duplicated stuff, it's going to look great, and it's not exactly what the client has requested, which we can do, by the way, but we're doing something really cool here as well. So there you go. Does it look nice? It does look nice. Yeah, it does look nice. So that's what, and then we want to put in uh, a header here which shows that we're now getting into the our services section. So I'm just going to quickly do that as well. Okay, so this is our icon box where our services is. Rather, I'm going to say header right heading pro. I'm just going to call it our services. Our services. I hit the save button. I'll move it above and I'll preview. I'm suspecting we might have to. Okay, there's already a space icon in there. So let's just wait for it to load up. Okay, so opening up, and there you go. We'll have our services there. I'm supposed to put in another space to make it look better. Okay, so that's what we have in there. I'm going to work on removing this particular stuff in there. Okay, so let's just do that quickly before we complete the rest of it. Not this one. Okay, let me duplicate the space now. And sorry, I'm gonna move that under here, and in our icons, all right, so let's delete that. Okay, great. Now we have two icons already. We have four to go. I'll work on the rest and see you later. Okay, guys, so we've completed all of the services, and this is what we have. Right. So you can navigate from one to the other, and it looks really good. It's it puts more focus on what we want the clients to see at a specific time, as opposed to having a lot of things displayed on the screen at once for the website visitor. So this is a little bit different from what we have in the draft.
but we believe it's better, and it places importance on what we want the audience to see. And so a person visiting the site can see one single thing at a time as opposed to several things, and then you do not know which one to read, or you are in a hurry to finish reading one and jump into the next. So we feel this is a better way to go, right? Okay, so let's go to the next section, which is our mission. And we'll come back to the website now. We have this right here. So let's create a space between here and here. Let's create a space between both sections. What we're going to do is just, since we already have spaces here, I'm going to duplicate one of them, and I'll move it just right under the slider box. So when I preview, when it loads, I believe there's going to be a space between both sections. So let's just wait for it to preview, and while that is going on, okay, we're going to have a simple message about the mission of the company. Ideally, this shouldn't be complex to do. We could just put in a row, and it's still loading, guys. We could just put in a row and let the write-up be there. I would suggest it's in black background, and the write-up is in white. Yeah, clear call to it shows a clear message that people can work with. Okay, so that's our site loading up right now, and yeah, we have space here now, uh, leading into the next section. Okay, so I would make this section what makes us special, right? And let us see what the client has to say about that. Okay, we're leading edge, and that's what makes us special. So this is what the client wants displayed in that section, right? So what we're gonna do is to delete it. Unfortunately, I've been keeping it, but we're gonna have to delete it now, and we're gonna have to create our own row where those information would be held. So right now, we just created a row. I'm gonna add a text box. Okay, so our text box has opened. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paste that in there, right? I just want to be sure that everything is going as planned before we escalate this. So a text box is there. Gonna create another row inside here, which of course needs to come like this. So we're going to separate our row into two, right? Okay, so I'll make that look like this, and this place is going to contain the image. Okay, so it's going to contain a single image, and I'll just click on the plus. Now our client has provided an image already, so I believe it's going to be small, but let's work on it first and let's see how it turns out. So I'm gonna save picture where. Okay, so I'm gonna save that in toots, and I would say butterfly, just so I can identify it. Then I'll copy this right off. There's gonna be a button there as well, so perhaps we would have to increase the number of columns that we've broken the row into. So it's a small image. You can see that from the dimensions is 376 by 375. I'll click on OK. I'll try my best to make it large, so I'll say full size. Right, image alignment, I'll make it center. I'll click on save changes. And here, basically what I want to do is to enable, because I need the call to action button there, right, as well. So I want to first put a text box. I'll paste that. Let's make it bolder and give it a heading of 3. right? And just right here, I'm going to put a button, and the button is going to say learn more. Okay, so I'm going to move this one. I'm going to move this one right in here because we have a lot of space here. So let me just get on with that. Okay, so I'll go back to our page builder and I'll move this in here. Talks about our mission, right? Okay, I'm just gonna see. All right, then let's give this a nice background image. So I'll click on the row settings and I'll come to the design options. I'll click the plus here, so we'll have a background image here. I need something a little bit white, or yeah, blue could work because our text is in black. So I'll pick that one, and I need it to cover the whole of the row. So I'll set that to cover. I'll click on save, and I would update. Okay, it's updating, so I'm going to go to our website and I'll refresh. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so it's opening up right now. Let's see. We'll spend a lot of time and we're still editing the home page. We'll have a couple of things to go. Okay, so that's it opening up right now. Okay, so we need to make this right up bolder. We need to make our button bigger as well. We have a picture here that is still loading. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back into our settings right now. We're going to make that right up bolder. This particular one will make it bolder. Then we'll make the row edge to edge. So give that a heading of 3, and let's come into the row settings here and let's make that stretch row and content. Let's preview to be sure that's what we want. So let's just wait for it to load up. It's loading now. Okay, so great. We have our row stretched to the end. I think it's looking good. I think it's looking good. Let's make this a different color. That's because there's a lot of white in here, so let's give this a bit of color, background image, whichever one works. But the write-ups are in black, so our color has to be something that allows black write-ups to come out. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is go back in here and let's give that some background image. This is the counter section, right? Okay, that's our revolution slider. We've got space here. The heading came in here. So this is the section we want to give a bit of background image. Coming to design options, I would select this so we can pick an image. Ideally, an image with light background. I would say blue. So since we cannot find anyone here and I'm not willing to go and download an image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a background color. So I would pick this. Let's give it something. Uh, all right, so let's see how that pans out. I'm going to preview it. Okay, So I want to include this particular section. I'm going to include this particular section, and we're going to make it edge to edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I would move this row right into this other one. It's refusing. So let's pick the color code for this one. So we have a match. I'm going to copy the color code and I'll come to general. I'll say stretch row and content, save changes. Then I'll repeat the same for this. I'll come to the background color. I'm just going to paste it. And I'll come here and say stretch row and content. I'll save the changes. Then let's preview. Okay, so there you go. We have our work stats, and I need space down here. Okay, so it looks nicer. So what I'm gonna do is that's our work start. I'm gonna duplicate. I'm gonna duplicate this space, and I'll move it into